guys, welcome back to OverTakes. This is Misfit.
And I'm Kel.
And we are here with our first episode of the new season for the 2020 Overwatch League. We are going to be talking about a bunch of stuff today. We're going to start with some news, and then we're calling it it's kind of like a knee-jerk reaction to rosters. We're going to do like kind of a quick take on teams. We're going to do some in this episode. We got some news we want to talk about first. And there's going to be another episode that's going to come out in a couple days from now. Be sure, if you guys are watching on YouTube, to hit a subscribe and hit a like. Be greatly appreciated. We like everything you guys have been doing for us, all the views and all that stuff. Just keep it up. We're going to stick with you through the whole season. We're going to get started on the new stuff and the new rosters we're going to talk about. But first, let's talk about some of the news that's happened since we last saw you guys. So what we got first, Gal?
So first thing we want to talk about is another retirement of a big name player, and that is Custa retiring from the Valiant. This came like a day or two after Jake announced his retirement.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
To no surprise, immediately after he announced this retirement, it was announced that I believe Custa will be on the desk.
Yeah, he's going to be on the desk.
And Jake is going to be a play-by-play shoutcaster.
Yeah, that works.
So,
we've had no pairings yet for Jake, but I'm sure that'll come. I would like to see him with Lemon Kiwi. I thought that was a great combo.
Yeah. I definitely think there's some possibilities. I wouldn't be surprised. And people are like freaking out that because there were like Malik like posted something over the weekend like that I'm going to miss these people, like not going to be with them or whatever, that he's leaving. But I get the feeling that there's actually going to be two desks. They're going to do one that'll be like basically Western Hemisphere. And then the other one's going to be Eastern Hemisphere.
I think I saw some of the... Malik might be your travel guy. Because I saw...
That is definitely a possibility.
We'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. But I saw something where they're kind of going to do the NFL Today, whatever, like your desk, like on Sunday morning. If you guys are football fans. So,
right.
The guys that are in there for halftime and all that, or pregame, I think that's where you're going to have Zoe and Puckett and probably Custa and Sideshow and Brent.
That makes sense. And then Malik would kind of be one of the guys. They'll probably be Malik and then the normal translator people.
What's his name?
And then
Danny Lynn.
Yeah,
probably.
Danny Lynn. I can't remember the girl, the Chinese speaker.
I always forget her name too.
Yeah,
she's really good. I like her too.
Yeah, I like her a lot. And then also probably same type of thing as oh my god, I'm just blanking on all of their names. LeVar Burton's daughter.
Yes. Mika. Is it Misha? Mika Burton.
Yeah.
Mika Burton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that same kind of thing. They'll probably do like
your interviews.
Your primary English speakers will be Malik and Mika, and then or Misha. I can't remember. I
pronounce her name wrong all the time.
And then they'll probably have the translator announcers as well. So
and look for a couple more too.
Yeah,
I would think a couple more translators. So. But Custa on the desk, I think, is going to be a good thing too.
Yeah.
I like the pro player angle. It gives a little more insight because Bren and Sideshow are great, but Bren gets memey at times.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sideshow, with Sideshow, it's kind of the 40% meme time when he has eyebrows.
Yeah, it's 100% meme time without eyebrows right now.
Yeah. But then he has good insights, and Bren is like the opposite. He's like 60% meme and 40% insight. I mean, when Bren speaks about the game and talks about it, and not trying to ruffle feathers and all that kind of stuff, he's really knowledgeable, and he has a lot of good stuff to say. It's just, he likes being a dick.
Exactly.
Which I have no problem with, but...
And yeah, I think it just makes more sense to have, that's kind of what you got with Reinforce, but it just didn't translate the way that I feel like they were hoping it would, because he was like a former pro, or at least somebody who was at that level, whereas now, as you're aging at your product and your league in general, you're going to get more guys that are going to retire, and a guy like Custa is exactly who you want to bring in.
Yeah.
And have that presence of like, okay, I'm going to go to you because you have the insight of this, of what's going on back here.
Yeah, because, I mean, as good as Reinforced was, he didn't play an owl.
Exactly.
So, I mean, he was a pro before, like, we had the big pro leagues and all that, and he brought a lot of good information in. But Custa can...
But I think that, Custa is just going to really elevate that aspect of it. Yeah, I really look forward to seeing what everything finalized looks like for the broadcasts in general.
Yeah.
But I really think Custa is going to bring a lot of good insight.
I do too, and they can maybe do more things like Watch Point. I really enjoy. I was probably one of the 5 people that enjoyed Watch Point. I feel like, like that. Well, like in season 1 when they did what was it, the Wednesday show?
Yes.
Before the matches started. And that's going to be interesting too. This year we only have 2 days of matches, so
I feel like they might bring something like that back. Like they'll probably still do the like before the matches and end of the matches, but then I wouldn't be surprised if we get something in the middle of the week where they kind of discuss it in like a little more in-depth type of thing, but like laid back but in-depth at the same time. Yeah,
because you have less broadcast time, and to keep it relevant and keep it in the public eye.
Yes.
You know, to keep the presence on like Twitch and social media and all that. It's good to throw things out there, even if they are doing like weird, like they were doing, you know, the Monty was right, or you know, Judge Monty, you know, and they were doing like the weird therapy sessions with fan bases, and they would each put on a jersey. It still was fun, and it still kept it around when, you know, there were no games or whatever.
Exactly.
So that's one of the things I think that needs to be done. Anyway, so we had that. There was a few signings. I don't feel like we need to talk about backups. I'm sorry, guys. I get it. The only Valiant signed, or not the Valiant, the Gladiators signed some people, or a DPS. Their DPS line is questionable at best anyway. We'll talk more about them when we dive into the teams after New Year's. The Washington signed Bonnie as a backup to Arc. I'm not thrilled. I kind of like it from the sense that Arc did have injury issues, so you have someone that's kind of capable behind him.
Right.
Not great, but
it's something.
It's
experience.
Yeah.
So it's
signing Brian Hoyer.
Right. Exactly. There's really not a whole lot of that kind of stuff we really need to get into. I think the impact of those types of things will be more felt later, way down the line.
Yeah.
Then we'll be able to even speculate, because I don't feel like any signings that have happened are going to be guys that are immediate starters. There's potential there. But I think it's more of a discussion for later down the line.
Yeah.
The big thing we wanted to talk about before we get into our reactions to all the final rosters is we wanted to touch on what happened this weekend, and that was probably one of the most hyped events in Tier 2 that we've had in probably years at this point.
Yeah, the Breaking Barriers weekend tournament. It goes back to way back in the day before Overwatch League, when we had all those kind of like all the tournaments and stuff like that, third-party tournaments that were kind of fun. Where you had meme teams.
You're getting guys that are just like, I'm throwing together a team, let's do this.
Oh, by the way,
that's
side note, Kefri's still watching tape. Trying to see who's cheating. It's like JFK.
Is Kefri now the fucking Hugh Jackson of Overwatch League? Like, is you just like, okay, dude, like, how much tape are you gonna watch?
Yeah,
I gotta watch the tape.
It's one of those things. Like, if you guys ever seen JFK, He's the Kevin Costner character. Back and to the left. Okay, now take the tape and go back to the left. That's Kefri right now. Whatever, dude.
Cheaters! Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like,
there are cheaters. Side note on that, I really don't want to talk too much about this, but like last night I've been playing a lot of the May Snowball Fight Deathmatch because it's more fun than it was in years past because you can catch the snowball and it's 8-man deathmatch, not that weird 6v6 thing.
Yeah.
But there was a dude, I swear to God it was Kefri that was running around. He's like, all these people are cheaters. The dude's got an aimbot. I'm like, so someone spent X amount of dollars to aimbot on fucking May's Snowball Fight? I don't think so, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Like, risking their account getting banned to play
that being
the
said,
freaking seasonal event.
That being said, I think they said today, the Overwatch Police Twitter account said that.
Yeah, they just banned a bunch of accounts.
1,500 or something like that accounts.
Yeah.
That's okay. So, there's a little bit of legitimacy to what he's saying, but I don't think the pros are doing that. You're running on different monitors, pings, all that kind of stuff. Replays don't show the exact timing when you're in a game anyway.
Right.
And you're playing hit scan. They're weird buggy things that happen in games. I don't buy all of it. If he's shooting somebody through a wall, all right, yeah. There's a couple of times I've seen blatant cheating, yeah. We had a couple of games, in fact, when we were playing on our alt accounts, where it was like, okay, soldier.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely some really wonky stuff. But, I mean, like, to throw that kind of accusation out at an event like that is just like, oh my God, dude, what are you doing?
Just
like,
and it's not like
you're already a meme for 12-year-olds at this point anyway. Like, you're just adding fuel to that fire.
But that aside, the tournament was great.
Oh, it was awesome.
It was. I mean, I watched a couple of matches. I watched our boy Labosca was announcing on one. The team names were weird. It was like old man something or other, or a couple of, but it was fun. I mean, you had some pros playing there. Jake and Custa came out of retirement, played a little bit.
Right.
We had streamers playing. It was a good time.
It was. And I think it was just, I hope that it was the start of some new fun things to come and a kind of a new direction that they can go in with this, and just a way to feature
with tier 2 and tier 3.
Exactly.
Yeah, you had some teams in there that weren't pursuing anything professionally, but it made it fun.
It did. I think it would be something along those lines, as well as like giving a way for teams to build true teams.
Yeah.
Or for players to build true teams, like something where you can balance those two things out, I think is really the ideal for your tier 2 and tier 3. Maybe the tier 2, you have like the more put together teams, and make your tier 3 this type of thing where you're putting together stuff, you're recruiting, and maybe give them some tools that they can put together for that. Because more content like this, I think, would do nothing but good for this game. Yeah,
for the game in general. Not even just like the professional side or the esports side.
Imagine the amount of people
we had guilds.
Yeah, the amount of people that were watching and enjoying this and just having fun with it. People who wouldn't normally, or people who didn't necessarily want to watch these streamers are watching because it's professional. People who normally wouldn't watch the professional because they rather watch the streamers want to watch their streamers. It's just good crossover content. There's so much good that comes from this. And
one of these teams that's not a meme team or like a bunch of like former pros or whatever, you get a bunch of guys that are like, in Grandmaster or Masters, and they form a team. If we had guilds, it would be a lot easier and a lot more interesting. But that's a side note. They could get
hopefully
noticed.
that's something they can build off of and put in some tools that allow that to start to really become a thing. But I think this is just kind of a step in the right direction of what they need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And there were some changes to Tier 2. We can briefly touch on that. We'll try and get some people on. We'll talk a little bit more about Tier 2 before the Overwatch League starts. I really want to do that. I want to get into a discussion about it. We don't watch a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll watch like some of the Gauntlet. I watch some of it. I'll watch some of the playoff things. Mm-hmm. Or teams that, guys that I've heard stuff about, stuff like that. But they changed the format up. Okay. So the first, I got the website up just to briefly go over some of the stuff. First major change is the format. They're splitting the regions into 2 conferences in a way you'd probably recognize: Atlantic, which is going to be Europe, North America, and South America; Pacific, which is Australia, China, Korea; and Pacific, which is like and the next step it's going to run for 7 weeks, okay. 6 weeks. Okay. This is like fucking algebra here. So basically they're changing all the way the thing is formatted. It's going to be a little bit more tournament style than it was. It's going to start in February after the Overwatch League starts. There's going to be a lower prize pool because they combine NA back into one instead of having East and West in North America. I think it's a little bit better. Each team is allowed to have 4 two-way players.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to help, with developing talent, which is kind of what it's supposed to be, not exactly a meat market, which is the way I see it now. It's kind of a way to develop your talent. You can have 2-way players. You have 4 on each team. That way, the quality goes up too.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just some major changes that I think need to be done. It's a good first step. I think if they keep doing tournaments like this too for Open Division, there's a lot more things you can do with contenders. I mean, we've always been a proponent of making it like a minor league system of some Absolutely. Sort. I mean, honestly, but it's a great thing. But I mean, even baseball is questioning the minor league system at this point.
It is. And
they've had it for 1,000 years. So there's things to work with this, and it can work. I want to talk and we will do this, on a larger scale. We'll talk more with some guys about, what they think of the format and where do they think this can go. I mean, do you have any thoughts on any of this kind of like retooling?
I mean, I feel like it's
a weird place.
It almost feels like change for the sake of change. Like, I don't see how it kind of, it solves some issues, but it brings up other issues. I think that there's definitely some more drastic changes that need to happen.
Yeah.
It just kind of feels like a Band-Aid that they slapped over it.
Whether you're mandating teams to have academy teams.
Right.
At least one to develop talent or whatever. Because right now, it's teams are dissolving because they're selling these players off, and then to dissolve their academy team, it's a big cost.
Yeah,
I guess,
and I get that.
Yeah, but for the betterment of the league, sometimes you got to absorb the cost a little bit. You got to think long term, and if you don't have a good base to develop players through, it's gonna fail. Eventually,
absolutely,
you're going to be pulling people from ladder, or hey, this guy from this tournament looked good, let's try this, and it's not going to work. You can't develop people the way you want to. That's kind of the way I see it. Someone with a bigger brain than me can come up with something better, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Let's move on. So, we talked a little bit about the contenders. Let's move into the rosters and what we think these teams have done. So we're going to we're going alphabetical. We're not going to go top to bottom because there's really no top to bottom. It's going to be a totally new meta. Teams have shuffled players, so we're going to start from A and work our way through W. We don't have a Z team yet.
Right.
But there's no team in Zambia, I guess, would be the only option.
So yeah, that just leaves us to start with Atlanta Reign.
So, guys, we're just going to be like throwing like not hot takes, but hot takes, like what we think happened, what they did, good, bad, what the fuck, or nothing to write home about, that kind of thing.
Right. So for me, for Atlanta, I think overall, I think some strong changes. It'll be interesting to kind of see what happens with Popo, considering he's still on their roster.
And so's Daco, which I thought was odd.
And so is Daco, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with those two, considering they picked up Gator, or they fully moved up Gator and Hawk. So they're sitting with a roster of 6 tanks.
Yeah. I think they officially let go of Daco. You know what? I'm gonna move over to the Liquipedia.
Yeah, just to make sure, because I think some of the things are updated on the website and some of the things aren't. But yeah, it'll be just overall with their changes. I think some strong changes, some strong additions. Bringing in a guy like Edison and then Sharpie, and then pairing those guys with Erster and Bay, I think is going to be really
it's a nice
good
rotation.
Yeah, I think the one thing that they could really still use is probably another support of some kind, whether it's a main support or a flex support, preferably probably a flex support. I like Dogman. I just don't think he is the only answer. I like Masa a lot. I think he can definitely be a strong main support, but it's definitely a risk going in with those two as your only supports.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they stay where I'm gonna call it even.
Yeah.
On their roster moves.
I don't
think they got better. I don't think they got worse.
Yeah, they did enough to not get worse. They just kind of almost stood pat, but
stood pat with a solid roster.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on to the Boston Uprising.
Good old Boston.
So we have
this is a pile of what the fuck.
Players.
Yeah.
2 returning players and color hex infusions.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then we have...
everybody else is brand new.
And they got rid of Blase, Stellar, Persia, and Aim God.
Yeah.
And RCK. The RCK experiment backfired.
Yeah, it did. Now, the real question is, had they not traded Note, would Note still be on the team?
Nope.
I don't think so either.
I don't buy that. What else is there to say about this? Is a fail to me.
Yeah, I think this is a team that, even at best case, they sneak into the play-in tournament. Is like really their best hope. That is like everything going as well as possible. I just don't see it.
No, I don't either. The best pickup they have is Byongbong. The rest of them are okay, just kind of I don't know, Yeah,
it's just kind of question marks all around.
Fusions is a decent enough main tank. I don't think he's he's not a top 10 at all. Top 15
I think he is,
if you're lucky.
Yeah, he's I would say between 9 to 13 placement. Like he's right there, right in the middle of the pack as a tank.
And that's kind of where the rest of their team falls at maximum in my book. Because the rest of it's unknown and garbage to me.
Right. I mean, Color Hex was pretty decent at times last year, but he seemed really streaky. There was really only one stage that you could really kind of get a feel for how his DPS play is, because he had to play Brig so much.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Last year for DPS was a wash.
Right.
And you're potentially looking at it again. We didn't really talk about meta from from what we saw last weekend, but you're going to have Orisa, Sigma, probably either May Doomfist or May Hanzo. So you need someone that can snipe and someone that can play
projectile snipe is the key too.
And that's one of the things I think that can hurt some of these teams that have like 9 million hit scan. Hit scan could be back. You could see more McCree for sure. Mm-hmm. And, if people start ditching the barriers because they're running these big barrier break comps with, Baptiste, Zen, like the comp we were talking about.
Right.
You're going to see more Widow. You won't see any like Soldier. And I'm going to throw this out there right now. Please stop with the Genji talk. This guy's got a good Genji. Genji's garbage.
He's not. Until there are major changes, Genji's not coming back.
Until they nerf healing, Genji is nothing.
Yeah.
Even at this level. And in order for Genji to be viable, you have to play in Ana, which means barriers have to be down.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not buying anyone that's a great Genji player right now. Yeah, sure, they're going to run it. They're going to try it because all these guys love playing Genji, and he has some impact at times. But overall, he doesn't do what Hanzo does. He doesn't do what Mei does. He doesn't do what Doomfist does.
Exactly.
So he's not viable.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to kind of see.
Yeah.
I don't have high hopes for Boston this year.
No,
I think
they're bottom 5.
Yeah, agreed.
Maximum would be sneaking into the play-in.
Yeah, and that's if like a lot of really good things go their way. All right, let's move on to Chengdu Hunters. Really not many changes at all. They just kind of stood pat with their team.
Yeah, they brought in Leave.
Yeah, they brought in Leave. Brought in Gary. No, did they bring in Leave? It's not showing up on here, but
on Wikipedia they have Leave on there. I think he's is he one of those ones that's like I'm trying to find his age.
Oh yeah, he might be a mid-season add in or whatever because he might be too young right now. But yeah, really not a whole lot of changes. Like this is almost exactly the same roster that they had last year.
It is, and you know what? I think it could work.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see them kind of moving into finding something weird that works. And I think there'll be more of a possibility for that this season.
The one question is, so are we gonna see kind of a transition for Ameng into an off tank? Because one of the comps you can run is either a Winston ball dive, or like an Orisa ball kind of dive barrier combo.
Right.
If you can work something like that. I think that's the biggest question because Ameng's really good at playing Wrecking. Obviously, he's the Wrecking Ball god. He's the Yoda Chad, whatever you want to call him. It's where this meta goes is going to determine how they play.
Exactly.
Because their DPS are great. Jinmu is fantastic. They have a good rotation there. Their supports are average to above average, and they're serviceable. I think they can do some damage depending on what. This is like one of those fucking. It's going to be like one of those fucking commercials for meds. Everything is meta dependent right now.
It is, yeah.
The meta might induce vomiting, vomiting, diarrhea, shortness of breath, blindness, and the Chengdu Hunters will play Wrecking Ball anyway.
Exactly. Yeah,
but there's a lot of speculation on the meta. But I don't think they're terrible.
No, I think they're
kind of where they were. I don't think they gained or lost.
They might have a slight uptick, it might have a slight downtick. That's really the biggest fluctuations I'm going to see. I think they're still going to be... I think the biggest key for this team, and I think it's kind of why they wanted to do this, is they were so inconsistent at times last year. And I think that they wanted to see if they could make what they had just work more consistently.
Yeah.
And I think that's really going to be the key for this team, is finding that and seeing if they can make that happen.
Yeah, because they thrive on playing off meta, which is fine with me.
Oh, yeah. I want more teams to be like that.
And like you said, consistency is the biggest key. There were times when, they should have won and they didn't.
Right.
It's
or times where they should have lost and they won.
Yeah.
And you just never know with this team. And I think that's they kind of saw that, and I think they want to just kind of see if they can build on it.
Yeah. And
I can't blame them.
Yeah. I think they can. I think they have a good core. I don't think they're going to set the world on fire.
Right.
I think the thing is, and we'll get deeper into this as we keep going, is a lot of teams changed. A lot of the teams that you could feed on aren't those teams anymore.
Exactly.
So we'll see what happens.
All right, let's move on to the Dallas Fuel.
All right, so Dallas. Let's talk Dallas. Now, my thoughts on Dallas is they improved everything except for their support line, which is a problem.
Yeah.
They also have too many large contracts with guys just sitting there doing fuck all. Taimu, Mickey, AKM. They're the old guard, and they're in these. And it's not that they're not good. It's like they're just sucking up roster spots at this point.
Yeah.
And I love those guys too. It's not that I don't like them, but Mickey is their cheerleader.
Yeah. Are they right? Like you're paying a player's salary to not play.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. What are you trying to do here?
Make him a streamer. Do that bit.
Your starting lineup is most likely Gamsu, Note, DK Zachary would be my guess.
Yeah.
Then
if last year was any indication.
Yeah, exactly. And then Unko, and then toss up most likely closer with the occasional Harry Hook, but it's most likely going to be Unko and closer. I mean, that's really your starting lineup right there. And
that's your biggest problem is your support line.
Yeah.
I don't think it's great. I'm going to throw it out there. They're probably in the league, probably somewhere around 14, 15.
Yeah. I don't think either of these guys are particularly bad, but I don't think they really have the chemistry that a proper support team needs. And then I think they're both decent players, but neither one of them is a world burner. And I think that's what really is going to hurt them. Yeah. They just don't have that super strong guy to kind of pull it together, they're not strong enough individually to really amp each other up. I think they just kind of are yeah, we're here.
Yeah, exactly. They're there. And they've by signing Gamsu to play with Note, there's chemistry there already.
Yeah.
It's kind of if you look at Gamsu and Oj, it's kind of an even one up if you're just looking at it from a stat kind of where they are player standpoint.
Right.
But if you look at it from a team standpoint, him coming in to play with Note again, it ups it a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
I think their DPS is their best aspect right now. With honestly, Doha, what he's able to play, and Decay and Zachary, that's a good trio. Yeah, we kind of railed on Zachary last year, but last year was so weird for DPS players. It's hard to get a grip.
Yeah, it really is. I think we'll get a better understanding of what he is as a player this year, and why they were so high on him. I think Dallas still, after everything, like, they still leave me with more questions than answers.
Yeah. I'm going to call them slightly better.
Yeah.
Whatever that, a small uptick.
Yeah.
I think
I can agree with that.
I think later on, like, as the season progresses, they're one of those teams that could start making moves, like, not like transactions for players, but like moves up in the standings. I think the more the more time these guys get to play with each other and stuff, I think they can be a lot better.
I agree.
I don't think they're going to be the memes that they've been for the last 2 years.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So that's our thoughts on the fuel. Let's move on to our last one for this video. And that's your team.
Florida.
The Florida Mayhem.
Hello, Florida. Simpsons reference. Shocking. Look it up. So, there's no other thing to say than they've gone up.
Yeah, I mean...
They had a good third stage. It was our first winning stage. I think the most underrated part of this team, I'm going to start off with this, is Gargoyle and Fate. I think the more these guys play together, I think this is one of the more underrated tank lines in the league.
I think you guys could really have a strong tank line, and that's really been one of the biggest weaknesses of this team for a long time.
Yeah.
Other than your supports.
Yeah. The supports, like, season 1, we had Manitin was a fantastic off-tank. Right. Swoosh, as much as I love him, dude was not the best.
He was not a great main tank.
He was like Fraggy Light.
Yeah.
I as a dude, he's awesome. As a coach, he's getting better and better. But that's for another episode. But yeah, I think then they solidified that last year. Now, what they did this year was they brought in Gangnam Jin and Yaki. Mm-hmm. And Gangnam Jin on the off support, I think, is going to be phenomenal. Because he was on Runaway, he was really good. Yaki, the DPS is the best part of this team right now.
Hands down.
You got Yaki, BQB, and Saya as your trio.
That's a disgusting DPS trio right there.
Yeah, because BQB, like, he impressed me a lot last year. He did, and he could play like decent, like some of those off meta. Well, they're not off meta now. Some of those like Maze and Sombras and things like that, mm-hmm. where you need like someone like that. You got Saya, who's going to be your hit scan. And mm-hmm. Yaki can play. He's got a nice hero pool. He can play a lot of different characters. I think this is going to be the shining part of this team. Now, the biggest, I think right now, the biggest hurdle they have is their main support and Chris. But I'm gonna say that he's like a team leader. Yeah, kind of like Custa, where he's not the greatest player, but he is kind of the glue.
Yeah, I can see that. I think overall, I think it's just some strong changes that they've made. I'm interested to see if Byram kind of works his way in there at any point either. Yeah,
he had moments where he was good, but he was he had those. He's a young guy, so he had like those moments where he was really good, and then moments where he was hot garbage.
Yeah.
So if he he can work his way in, and he's improved in the offseason and all that, that would be great.
But I think Gangnam Jin was really the big get for this team, because it really helps put an anchor on that support line.
Especially with Zenyatta coming back in the fold.
Yes.
And, a lot of these guys are, they love watching Jonak and guys like that playing Zenyatta. So, like the younger guys, they're Zenyatta fraggers, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to see maybe who has the best bat is really the key on this team.
Yeah, that's going to be huge.
Because the Baptiste is going to be huge meta right now.
Most definitely. I feel like Baptiste is going to probably have like a plus 70% pick rate.
Oh, yeah. Because, not to be weird, if I can carry a team playing Baptiste,
right,
these guys can do a lot more.
Same. So I think definitely some massive improvements.
There's a shot for the playoffs for this team. Yes. A shot. I'm calling them somewhere around 500. So a vast improvement over last year. Taking steps, moving, up the ladder. I don't. While I'm clicheing the fuck out of this, call me a Shanahan, I guess. They're doing everything they need to do to improve.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've turned the page. Anyway, God, I'm awful. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually excited about the season starting for my team.
Yeah. I'm really intrigued to watch this team now.
Yeah, because there's a lot of parts that you're like, this could be good.
Yeah.
Don't know what's going to happen. Because they did sign a lot of GOATS players last year. Not that we've moved too far away from that. We just changed the hero names. But like some of the guys I don't think are going to see a lot of play, like Carrie Ann, I don't think is going to be like a huge integral part. Gargoyle was, I think, often overlooked last year in some of his play. I thought he was really good. And I agree. I'm looking forward to the season. As a Mayhem fan, that's things you don't normally say. So, all right, guys. So that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks a lot for joining us. We will hit you later on in the week, probably a couple days, somewhere in there, with the rest of our takes on the roster moves, and then we're going to take a break. Kel's going to Vegas, my favorite city in the United States, even though they signed the Raiders as their official NFL team. Fuck that. I don't acknowledge it. They don't exist. If you can throw a grenade or two into that stadium, and that would be great.
Fair. I'll do my best. It's domestic terrorism for you.
Yeah. Well,
well,
it's the Raiders. You can blame it on them.
They're their own domestic terrorists.
They tried to burn down the Oakland Coliseum, and it's such a concrete shithole they couldn't even do that last week.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thanks a lot for joining us. We will see you with the rest of our hot takes on rosters and stuff like that. Like I said, we will then start diving deep into teams after the new year. Look for us on stream. Well, I'll be streaming some. I'm going to be in lovely Cleveland, Ohio in the 20-degree weather, while you're in my favorite winter place in the world. I hate you.
I mean, it's going to be a little warmer next week here, and it's only supposed to be a high of like, the highest it'll be when I'm there is like just under 60. It's like high 50s. Yeah. Which I will take over snow, what we have right now. Yeah. But, yeah.
Exactly. But whatever. Thanks a lot for joining. Yeah. Well, at least I gave you a list of places to go, some of the off the beaten path shit. The thing about Vegas, guys, if you ever want to have a Vegas discussion, just talk to me. You got to go some of the seedier parts. The food is great in the seedy parts of Las Vegas. I'm telling you, just do it. Anyway, thanks a lot. Everyone that's on YouTube, thank you for watching and, supporting us for the last couple of years. And, we're going to be hitting you with a lot of stuff coming up. We're going to get some guests on and all that kind of stuff. Don't forget, hit a subscribe, hit a like. Hitting likes and subscribes helps us out a lot. It brings us up in all their weird algorithms and all that kind of stuff. If you guys are on Podcast Land, iTunes or Spotify or SoundCloud, wherever you're listening, thank you very much. We appreciate it a lot. And don't forget to give us a rating and some comments would be great. We love talking about Overwatch League and, seeing, what you guys think, how we can improve. And in general, don't forget to comment because this is an open discussion. We want to hear what you guys think. that's really what, why we're here. We want to talk about Overwatch League. So don't forget to hit us with some comments. And that's going to do it for this one, guys. We will talk to you on the next one.
Catch you guys in the next one. Later.